Hello everybody, I'm Serti and welcome back to Satisfactory. So, in the last episode we've sorted out our steel production, and that boded well for what has happened between episodes. So I went and found a few extra hard drives, which means that I have some extra recipes, including encased industrial pipes, which I was very keen on getting. So that will help us out, because instead of using the encased industrial beams are very expensive. Use pipes. That means you need to make less beams. It just works out nicely. What else was there that was important? Yeah, we're still looking for the other, I think it's the steel rotor, which is definitely going to make our lives a lot easier. We've also unlocked a lot in the MAM. The AI limiter is now unlocked. That's going to open things up and we'll start getting into electronics. We also opened Caterium and Quickwire. So we're now producing Quickwire, and we actually have a little facility going, and I'll get to that in a moment. So I pretty much unlocked everything in the MAM that I could up to this stage. Alien organisms, oh yes, I bumped into one of these stingers, also known as spiders. Not nice, but I survived it, and yeah, now we're almost done. Caterium is going well. A lot of stuff that I need from this point on requires either that I make AI limiters or I get some plastic, so that's not going to be happening for a bit. This is also plastic based with a polymer. Nutrients and power slugs are both done. Quartz I have advanced a little. I've got crystal oscillators unlocked. We'll see when we get around to those. Crystal oscillators are needed there and there and there and there. So yeah, important. And then under sulfur, I need to start really thinking a lot about getting my weapons setup sorted out. And I have been thinking a lot, and we'll get to that shortly. I see now that compacted coal and turbo fuel are part of the sulfur line, which wasn't the case before. As far as I know, there were unlocks with hard drives. So that's interesting. But you still need hard drives in order to unlock them. And at this stage, I'm not really that keen on wasting my hard drives on it, so we're not going to do that for a while. All right, let's have a look at where we are with the unlocks. I've pretty much unlocked everything, including Logistics Mark III. So we have the Mark III conveyor belts. We also have the Mark II miners. Obviously, we've got the combat and coal power and basic steel production. So there are a couple of little things. The one that I'm focused on right now is Hypertubes, because we want to be able to get around quicker. And if I pop a couple more pipes in there, I have pipes. There we go, one more pipe, and we'll launch that. So we have unlocked Hypertubes. Okay, let's go and have a look at what we've done with Caterium. As I said in the previous episode, there are Caterium nodes out to the southeast. I've set this up in a particular way for a reason. So we have our ingots coming in on this line. We're producing ingots at the source because it matters a lot. Because 45 ore gives 15 ingots. So if you were to transport 45 ore, you're having to transport a lot of stuff to only get 15 ingots at the end. Rather, process the 45 into 15 and then transport that, and you can get so much out. Anyway, so basically, got 6 smelters making Caterium ingots, producing 225, I think, unless I haven't underclocked that last one yet. Yeah, I have. No, it's 225 is being produced and sent across this line to our Caterium wire plant. There is a reason I have the wire plant, the Caterium wire plant here, because you put in 12 and you get out 60. So I wanted to keep this fairly close to the source. Instead of having to try and drag all of that Caterium wire through. So we've got 6 constructors, so we're getting 360, 180 on each line going up onto the roof, where at the moment there's just storage. And yeah, that's about it from this side. And then at the moment on the roof, all we've got is we have this going into one of the big storage boxes, which we recently unlocked. You'll notice in the top right-hand corner, there's phase 2. That's the stuff required for the space elevator. I carried on with this setup. Now, I know I should really automate this whole process, but with everything being so far apart, I just figured, I'm going to, it's small amounts and I want to get to the next phase quickly. So I'll automate when I have more ways of getting materials around the map. So basically I just put in the number of items of each that I need. They go into the assembler, and this is making smart plating. The other 2 items are being produced down at the space elevator. So we'll just take a mosey on down there. And I've also just set up a junk bin. I had a full container of Caterium wire, and I'm just chucking it into a sink to generate extra tickets. Oh, that's nice. I've got 11 here. I think I got 15 back in the container, so looking all right. Nothing has changed. Well, not much has changed. The foundations have changed around here a little bit. The reason being is I'm setting this area up for quartz production. Got 2 pure quartz nodes over here, and they are going to be making crystal quartz and silica. Another fairly substantial change is that we've now doubled our power production. We have an extra 8 coal power plants, and we're now generating 1200 megawatts consistently. Had to do that. Our max consumption was going up with all the extra building we were doing, and also because we unlocked Mark II miners, we could put a miner up at the top of the coal mine and run 2 sets basically. So if we get the upgrade to tier 3, we'll be able to basically duplicate this setup. But I hope we don't have to do that. By that stage we should be well into oil. Okay, as a result of Mark II miners, we have increased this facility by upgrading the miners to Mark II, which doubled their output, which meant that I could switch on all the machines, and I even added another machine, another foundry, to create steel. I am creating 240 steel per minute, steel ingots, and we currently have, just trying to remember, both. I think we got 2 machines running. They're stopping and starting now because we are using the pipes upstairs and the line is full, so because we aren't using all of it. On this side I increased the production of steel beams, which I'm actually now going to reduce again, and I'm going to increase this side. The reason being is that if you look at the recipe, you're putting 60 ingots in and only getting 15 beams, so you're getting a quarter of your input on this one. On this one you're putting in 30 and you're getting 20, so you're getting back 2/3, which is way better. And with the alternate recipes, it just keeps getting better. So yeah, we can now also head upstairs. This has changed the spot as well. What I did was I brought some copper in, and then I smelted down here. I've got the ingots going in here to make wire. The wire comes through to this assembler with steel beams to make stators, and then the stators are going into storage over here. And well, when we manage to get a rotor set up down here, which I'd like to do with the steel rotor recipe when I eventually find it, is make motors down here. So that's that part. Another thing that I've done is I have 2 normal copper nodes over here. Now I haven't done this yet. I've started planning for it, but the 2 nodes over here that I wasn't using, because right now, just to make steel, we've got 2 normal nodes of copper and a pure node of iron, and that is the perfect mix for steel. So these weren't really being used, and I do need to set up a weapons factory. The sulfur is on that side, in the valley on the other side of where that coal miner is. So it just made sense to rather get the coal from here to go across to the coal mine, to the coal power station. So I've got it all set up and almost ready to go. So we'll probably do that just now. But that's pretty much where we are at the moment. I did scoot across the valley over here. I used the lower platform because I want to prepare for the incoming oil production, which will be in phase 3, I think. Yeah. I found 2 oil nodes, impure. Now, normal is kind of middle of the range. Pure is high yield. Impure is very low yield. So it'll be like a quarter of a pure node. So I remember before they did this whole changeover, I remember there used to be more oil down in this direction. So let's just take a walk out here and have a look. Okay, so we're in the new biome. It really does look very nice. There's one impure oil node. But there were those little bugs all over the place. Got rid of them, and there was also a splitter on that side. So this is an impure node, and over here is another impure node. Pretty easily accessible. Not entirely sure where I'm going to do the processing just yet. This is actually quite a nice biggish open area for it, but it's also quite far away. Although my whole plan with this playthrough is to decentralize and keep separate factories around, instead of having a mega base. I saw an area down at the bottom of a cliff, which I may have to explore. If we go right to the edge of this, was it here? I could have sworn. Wait, maybe I saw it from here. Oh wait, there we go. It would be nice if that was a pure node. Yeah, I'm not going to venture down there right now. Not crazy important, but at least I know that there is oil in this area. There might be more, I don't know yet. So super. Let's head back to the base. Another thing you'll notice is I've put in columns in various places. Although this planet produces extremely strong lightweight concrete that can hover above the ground, still feel more comfortable if it looks supported. So yeah, I've got supports in various places just to make it look a little more solid. Alright, we're here at the power plant. Noisy water generators in the background, water extractors in the background, and I think I'm going to do the switch, which means I need to cut this off. And hope that nothing breaks. So I'm just going to pop another one of these over here, and I'm going with Mark 3s just to get the flow very fast. Then on this side I'll put a Mark 3 lift and get the belt in. Check that all of that is working. Yep, everything's going through as it should. Alright, that means I can delete this belt, and this is going to need to not be a splitter anymore. So I can remove that splitter. In fact, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to remove this belt, remove this. And I probably should have done this first, but I'm going to bring this across. This won't reach. Is that the right height? I hope so. Pop that in and pop Okay, good. That means we've... is that right? It should be. Yeah. Okay, I might have to switch a couple of machines off at the end just so that everything gets topped up again. But now we can remove this and we can start removing this belt. I'll do this off camera. It's not that crazy important. And as a result of breaking all this down, I'm going to have coal on me so I can also top up the generators that way. So that's that. We have now switched and we're using coal from this side of the river, freeing up that coal to use with our sulfur on that side for our weapons factory, our gunpowder factory. Okay, so here's a tip for you guys that haven't played a lot. The crouch jump, basically where you run, hit C and jump. So you hit C and then you jump. That allows you to move around faster. But if you have a Mark III belt, it allows you to go even faster. So yeah, just a little by the way. This also helps to get good speed on launch when you're using a jetpack later on, allowing you to travel much further off the ground. Okay, another reason why I want to use that coal, which is closer to the sulfur, which is just sort of on the other side of it, is if I wanted to set up something where coal and sulfur are fairly close-ish together, I would have had to have gone up here. This area is not very friendly right now. Those spiders are all over the place. There's a sulfur node somewhere up here, and there are coal nodes across on that side. Yeah, for the beginning base, I'm not really that interested in trying to work that. These resources are much closer and easier to access, so that's what I'm going to do. What is that? Is that my drop pod? It's hovering in midair like that. Oh. Oh, look at that. Okay, well, I think what I would like to do in this episode is finish phase 2, and we're almost there. I just need to make sure that my numbers were right on these versatile frames. That's finished. Did I have my numbers wrong? No, there's still 45 in there, and one modular frame gives 2. So yeah, we're still okay there. All right. On that side, we are done with the wiring, automated wiring, and probably need to fetch some of that stuff from the top. But yeah, eventually I am going to automate this, especially for the later stages, because there are massive amounts of resources that you need, and to try and do what I'm doing now, carrying things backwards and forwards, would just not be practical. Oh, this is still not finished. Man, this produces really slowly. Okay, so that's a little while away, but we'll still sort it out before the end of the episode. Okay, what I'd like to have a look at as well is the shop. There are a few things that I bought. So, conveyor floor lift hole, conveyor lift floor hole has been bought. There was something else. I think I bought the... Okay, we have Hypertubes. Yeah, I should really set up some Hypertubes. That'll be a good thing to do. Resources are not a problem. Alright, so we'll do that. Got the road barriers and we've got the railing. There isn't anything I'm after right now. To be honest, it's just cosmetic stuff. It's not practical for where I am in the game at the moment, so I'm not really going for it. I'm saving up tickets, and when things become important, then I'll buy them. I could get a coffee cup, but yeah, not practical yet. I do have resources that I've picked up around the various drop pods. So I've got computers and circuit boards and heat sinks and motors. I've also even got some heavy modular frames, so that's nifty. Now, what a lot of people do with those items is they toss them in the awesome sink because you get quite a large return on them, a lot of tickets or ticket points. I don't do that because I just find it to be a bit of a waste, especially when like the the drop pod up over here was it needed 4 motors. The one over here needed 30 motors. If I hadn't had those motors, I wouldn't have been able to get them because I hadn't produced any as yet. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Those little resources. I know that there's a drop pod somewhere out there that requires heat sinks. I don't know about heavy modular frames and the rest, but yeah, just bear that in mind. Don't just throw them away to get tickets so that you can make your base look pretty when you actually can't progress. Okay, in our workshop, we have a whole bunch of stuff. So I have made myself, I crafted some nobelisks, which are basically hand grenades with a detonator. And I've got iron rebar for the rebar gun. So to see how that works, let's load up. And fire. Look at that. Rebar. Pretty effective at killing things. Not terribly effective, but still okay. And then of course there's the Nobelisk. And I wonder if there are any dudes. I've cleaned this place out so well, but they do respawn if you haven't got anything going. I don't want to accidentally kill Bob, although there's a lot of Bobs in this version. So basically, do I want to destroy these trees? Because Noblest destroys trees as well. And I literally destroy them. You don't get the resources back. So before I throw this, let me see if I can find... Yeah, we'll just throw it into the bushes. And then you right click. Ah, that took the trees anyway. But yeah, good way to clear out forests if you don't like them. I would like to bring some nature into my factory because I think it's important to have it. You know, remember the heritage of the planet. You know, kind of what it looked like before you colonized it and destroyed the environment completely, wiped out all the wildlife. Anywho, so while I'm discussing stuff of what my plans and progress is at the moment, there are 2 items that need to be made from quartz. That's your silica and your crystal quartz. Now, if you have a look at the ratios, they're actually opposite. So with the crystal quartz, you put in 37.5, you get 22.5 out. With the silica, you put in 22.5, you get 37.5 out. So this one is the silica is going to require more constructors. So bear that in mind. It also gives you a nice opportunity to do a building that has a slope, because you'll have less if you do the silica on the second floor. Sorry, the quartz crystals on the second floor. You will be able to have a less floor area used, and then make a slope up the front with glass and a patio, and be all civilized and stuff. Also, at this stage, I might have just given it away, but you may have noticed what I'm trying to do here. The fact that I'm coming down the slope and I'm working off that slope is not really an accident. I don't have a hard and fast plan, but I do have a bit of a plan. Obviously, this base is going to be repurposed eventually, and may just end up serving as our central storage up on this level anyway. But there'll still be factories. Maybe not the ones you're looking at now, because these may be moved out to areas that are better suited for the ores that these require, and obviously be substantially bigger, but the building itself will come down on a slope. I'm going to try and slope it with this mountain over here and keep it relatively nice. But in terms of, this is just one building. I missed a pillar there. This is just going to be the one building. We will have a separate building for oil, like we've got a separate building for steel. In this area we kind of this is steel. We don't really have another option because of the resources and where they are. That building will be improved and it will look nice. It's too early yet to get a road network or a rail network started and set up. Those are going to be fairly important. I like to have sort of a highway network that I build up over time just to get me place to place by vehicle. The vehicles don't really go well. They don't drive very well on these platforms. Like the damn moth is attacking me. The dune buggy that you get, which has now been repurposed to only have one seat, that doesn't reach its max speed on these platforms. On normal land, I think it gets up to 100 or 120 kilometers an hour. But on these, it gets to around about 80 kilometers an hour. But that's still fine. It's still faster than running, and it's more fun. So I will have roads, and as you can see, I have everything connecting. I build platforms out where I go and investigate because everything is going to connect on basically on the same grid. Now, when I say on the same grid, because if you go to a normal piece of ground, and let me just pop up to this rock over here, I'm going to show you something. So if I took a foundation and I held control down to snap it to the world grid, it snaps it to the world grid, but at that height. Okay. If I took another foundation, so 2 meter foundation. Oop. Okay, it's making my point, but not exactly the way I expected it to. There's a difference in level, and that difference in level can be quite difficult. So now I'm holding control and I'm clicking, and now there's a difference in level. You can fix that with ramps, but I don't really want to do that. I feel like it's not exactly the right thing to do, and you'll end up having little ramps and bits and pieces, and then your stairs don't line up. They're out by a meter here or 2 meters there, and I've played too many hours of this game and so I've got a fairly good idea of what the little pitfalls are, and that is one of them. That can seriously mess up how you want a base to look or work. Right, if you've been watching this playthrough from the beginning, you'll remember that I mentioned that there is a second coal node up over here. So the plan with that, and I left it alone because, hello Bob, that's the reason I brought the quick wire or the Caterium to this area, because this is going to come out, and on the way it's going to be turned into copper sheet. That copper sheet and the quick wire will go into a bunch of constructors using assemblers. Apologies. Copper sheets and quick wire will create AR limiters. The AR limiters are going to be useful in unlocks and various other things. They'll be easily accessible as well. So it'll be a start of going into electronics. Obviously, when we want to get really into it, we need to have oil production up and running, and we will get to that point. Okay, so I said we're going to build some Hypertubes, and we are. So the first thing we need is a Hypertube support. I'm going to try and do this so it doesn't block places off. This is probably not the best place to do it, but I can move it later. This is for demonstration purposes. Then we're going to have a Hypertube entrance, and going to need to plug it in. Oh. So, nothing's going to happen as yet because there's no actual hypertube. So we're going to put a hypertube onto it and we're going to begin dragging. Okay, that's still fine. Works very much like the pipes. I think I'll just lift over here to keep it out of the way. Cool, let's just do a drop off. Am I keeping it fairly straight at least? Hope so. You can change the build mode as well by pressing R. That is auto 2D, noodle, horizontal to vertical. Yeah, I'll just do auto. And we'll keep going. Okay, we're just going to stop this one over here. We can maybe put another one on the other side just to get us that side faster, but I mean this is fairly close together. Thing is, running backwards and forwards from the top to the steel area is quite a pain. So okay, we're going to put the entrance over here and we're going to plug it in, and if all is well we should be able to catch a ride. Now, going uphill in the Hypertube, you do go a little slowly. I still think it's faster than walking. And we're up at the top. That's pretty nifty. Going down is going to be way faster. As you can see, substantially faster. My legs are glitching out. Okay, so there we have our first non-leg transport. Pretty nice. Now you can make yourself go faster by launching in faster or leaving a gap. I mean, I could put another entrance here, leave a small gap, and then carry on with the Hypertube. You can string a whole bunch of those together and make yourself fly across the map. That is also a possibility and something we may use later on, although I've not really had great success with it other than launching myself completely off the planet. But yeah, there you have it, my first Hypertube. Let me go and check on how we're doing with our space elevator unlocks. Another beautiful morning on Planet Massage 2ABB. Okay, the one thing I remembered from my last playthrough is smart plate construction is extremely slow, which is why I remember I was forced to automate. So I figured I'd do that early. We have rotors coming in over here. We have reinforced iron plates coming up over here. So I figured I'd create this little monstrosity. Don't hold it against me. And the rotors are being produced at a rate of 4 per minute. Which means we're still going to have some going to storage. This only needs 2 per minute. It still takes a heck of a long time. So I'm 50 short, and I'm just going to let these build because you actually need these smart plates to create later tier items in the space elevator. So I'm going to just leave that and let it gather up lots of stuff. This might not even be the final resting place for this, although it does kind of work. I like to have the space elevator at a lower elevation than the rest of the base. Yeah, so anyway, it needs 2 rotors. It's making 4. Rotors aren't going into anything else at the moment, and this is not my final rotor assembly, so this is going to stick around. It'll split 2 per minute into the storage and 2 per minute into this machine to make smart plating. And while we're waiting for those smart plates to finish up, just a note, you can actually change direction. So if you walk past a Hypertube entrance and accidentally get sucked in, you can push the back button, or the forward button, depending on which direction you're facing, and you can pull yourself back out. Handy note. Okay, I do believe we have everything that we need. Let's drop the last 50 smart plates in. Load. And send. And it's off. Okay, so we will, let's go and have a look at all the new goodies that we can choose from. Okay, so in the hub, we now have tier 5 and 6 unlocked, with oil processing right up front. Definitely going to want that. But in order to do that, we need motors. I haven't started producing those yet, because I haven't got the rotors on that side. So I'm going to have to sort that out. I think the oil extractors or the refineries, or maybe both, actually need motors to be built. We also get circuit boards, petroleum coke, plastic rubber, and fuel. Very, very important. So this will be the first one that we unlock. Industrial manufacturing. We do need the manufacturer in order to make the crystal oscillators and computers. So that's important, but not critical just yet. For the plan that I have with the oil processing, I do need alternative fuel transport. But in order to get that, I'm going to need manufacturing so I can get heavy modular frames. We can also get gas masks, also get some more inventory slots, and then we can expand the power strike. Okay, this is going to be important as well to fit in with my plans. That fuel generator, which means that I definitely do need to have heavy modular frames up and running. And I so want the jetpack. It's useless, well, pretty much useless without fuel. Not sure if it runs on biofuel. I can't remember that far back. Possible it does. Pipeline engineering, we get Mark II pipes, which pump 600 cubes per minute. And we also get pipelines pumps Mark II, which have a 50-meter head lift. So that's when you start building up. Monorail's pretty good. That's going to help us move stuff around the map. But yeah, I think we're going to concentrate on oil processing in the next episode. In between episodes, I will get started on the facility to process all the quartz and get some crystal oscillators built as well. Not sure how I'm going to do that yet. Yeah, I'm going to take this concrete road down because we don't really need to go up there anymore. I don't think there's anything else up there that I need. So yeah, this is where we're going to call it. If you like the video, give us a like. Subscribe. If you want to see more, hit the bell icon for notifications. And send us a comment. Let me know what you think of the playthrough. If you're happy with the format. If you want to see more on hands-on building with the different materials, maybe I could do a how-to series. But yeah, we'll leave it there for now. And until next time, cheers.